Do you often feel bored when you're waiting at a traffic light, in a supermarket line, at the elevator, or when you're exercising or driving? Do you immediately open your phone to scroll through short videos or social media to kill time? What if I told you that this seemingly harmless habit could lead to depression, anxiety, and even some more serious psychological issues? Even more dangerously, it destroys our creativity and our ability to solve problems. Oh, my apologies, that's not just me talking. This is an assertion from Professor Arthur Brooks, a happiness expert at Harvard University. Watch until the end of this video to get your answer. Welcome to today's video. We're going to explore a little-known truth about our brains and the surprising connection between boredom and happiness. We'll discover why constantly being busy doesn't make you happy, and how to turn those empty moments into a source of inner strength, which is the very root of happiness. I used to think that boredom was simply an unpleasant feeling. But according to Professor Brooks, that's not the case. He says you need to be bored. Boredom is extremely necessary for your inner peace, for your creativity, and for your persistent problem-solving ability. Professor Brooks told a rather famous story that truly haunts me. It was an experiment conducted by his colleague at Harvard, a psychologist named Dan Gilbert. The experiment was very simple, yet it exposed a terrifying truth about our minds. The experiment went like this. A participant was invited into an empty room with no windows, books, or phone, absolutely nothing to do. Their task was to sit alone for just 15 minutes. But in the middle of the room, on a small table, there was a button, and they were told that if they pressed it, they would receive a quick but quite painful electric shock. So they had two choices: either face their boredom and do nothing, or endure physical pain by pressing the button. What do you think they chose? The answer is truly shocking. A large portion of the participants chose to shock themselves rather than sit still. They chose physical pain instead of confronting the emptiness, the boredom of their minds. This shows how intensely we hate boredom. We would rather feel real pain than endure an empty mind with nothing to do. So why do we fear it so much? Professor Brooks explains that when we get bored, our brain switches into a mode called the default mode network, DMN. This isn't some vague theory. DMN is a group of interconnected brain regions that scientists have discovered and researched using functional magnetic resonance imaging. This network is particularly activated when we're not focused on a specific task from the outside world. This is the time when our minds are designed to think about the big questions in life, such as, who am I? Or what is the meaning of my life? It's also the foundation for developing a sense of self, helping us reflect on memories, plan for the future, and even feel empathy for others. It also plays a crucial role in creative thinking, helping us connect seemingly unrelated ideas to find groundbreaking solutions. This enhances our creativity and problem-solving ability. However, these questions can be very uncomfortable, and that's why we don't like the feeling of boredom. The problem is, we've found an effective way to disable that mechanism: using smartphones. By constantly filling every empty moment in our lives, we've cut off the path to the default mode network's mechanism. And Professor Brooks has pointed out that this is the very cause of the explosion of depression and anxiety in today's society. So what's the solution? Professor Brooks offers a simple piece of advice. You need to be bored more. He suggests we make a few small changes in our lives. First, try going to the gym without your phone or listening to music. I believe you'll have the most interesting ideas while doing that. Second, when you're driving or on the bus, turn off the radio, take out your headphones, and simply be alone with your thoughts. And third, try taking screen fasts periodically, simply by not doing anything. Professor Brooks himself admits that he has the same pathology as everyone else because he has the same brain chemistry. To combat it, he has created his own rules. He doesn't use devices after 7 p.m. He doesn't sleep with his phone, and his family doesn't use devices during meals. He also regularly takes social media fasts. He says that at first the feeling is very uncomfortable, like children screaming in my head, but that feeling quickly subsides. I know you might be worried, what if I miss important news or messages? Professor Brooks said that this fear is baseless. You can set your phone to allow only 1 or 2 emergency numbers to contact you. Furthermore, he emphasizes that social media news is not an emergency. He also joked that your grandparents didn't need to know what was going on in Washington, D.C. every single second, and they were just fine. Constantly checking the news is killing us. By practicing this skill of boredom, your life will change in incredible ways. It's not just about finding meaning, it's also about training self-control, creativity, and connection. First, it's a paradox, but when you learn to embrace boredom, you'll become less bored with the ordinary aspects of life. Our dependence on constant stimulation from mobile devices has raised our threshold for what we find interesting. We always need short videos, notifications, or sensational news to feel entertained. That's why news has to be increasingly shocking to get people's attention. When you cut back on those things, your brain will gradually get used to a slower pace, and you'll start finding value and interest in the small things, like your work, your relationships, or a quiet walk. Second, boredom is a doorway to creativity. When your default mode network is activated, your mind will have space to wander and connect ideas that seem unrelated. That's when breakthroughs happen, and seemingly unsolvable problems find a solution. Writers often have their best ideas when they aren't writing, and scientists often have their greatest discoveries when they're not in the lab. That's because they've allowed their brain to rest, to be bored, to work in a different way. Constantly feeding your brain with external stimulation is destroying your innate creativity and problem-solving abilities. And lastly, boredom forces us to confront life's big questions. When there's nothing to fill the void, your mind will naturally turn to core issues like purpose, meaning, and connection. The constant avoidance of these questions with fast entertainment on our phones has left many people feeling empty and directionless. By practicing boredom, you allow yourself to dig deep into those things, find what's most valuable, and live a more meaningful life. And when you can live a life with clear meaning and purpose, you'll be more creative and effective at solving problems, and you'll live a happier life. And finally, Professor Brooks's advice for all of us is put your phone down. Start with one small step today. Put your phone away during dinner with your family, or go for a walk without it. Share in the comments how you're going to do it. If you found this video helpful, please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe so you don't miss out on upcoming content. Thank you all so much.